Welcome to Statecraft. After almost a year-long gap, the Quad foreign ministers held a high-level meeting in New Delhi on May 26th. What if this meeting was not just about diplomacy, and the real reason behind the sudden strategic coordination was China's growing pressure on Taiwan, America's fear of losing influence in Asia, and Indo-Pacific becoming the center of global power? Why US talking about stabilizing relationship with China while simultaneously strengthening the Quad? Because today, Taiwan is no longer just an island dispute. You say, what about Taiwan? Taiwan has become the center of semiconductor dominance, and this is the biggest flashpoint between the US and China. So let's decode the real geopolitical meaning behind this. This is no longer just about diplomacy. This is about semiconductors, naval dominance, supply chain control, and the future balance of power in Asia. The big question. For months, the global narrative around China was changing. Donald Trump had started reopening communication with China, and after Trump and Xi talks, many countries in the Asia become nervous. Why? Because these countries feared, what if America reduces pressure on China? This is important. Historically, America's allies trust US military power, but they don't always trust long-term political consistency in the US. And that is where the Quad meeting becomes critical. This is classic geopolitical balancing where America wants economic stability with the China but also strategic deterrence around China. And Taiwan sits right in center of that balancing strategy. That is why the Quad meeting happened almost immediately after renewed Trump and Xi engagement. Not coincidence. China is worried because Taiwan produces some of the world's most advanced semiconductors. And these chips power the different AI systems, military equipments, satellites, smartphones, electric vehicles, and I can say future digital economy. Now think carefully. If China gains strategic control over Taiwan, it could gain enormous leverage over the global technology and economy. And that possibility deeply worries the United States, Japan, Australia, and India. Because the real battle in today's world is no longer military. Who controls the future technology ecosystem? Now, what is the importance of Quad? Most people think that the Quad is simply a military alliance. But that is outdated thinking, I believe. The modern Quad is evolving into the economic security architecture. Look at the latest meeting focused on maritime surveillance, semiconductor supply chains, critical minerals, energy security, ports, shipping routes, and Indo-Pacific coordination. This is huge because modern geopolitical competition is no longer fought only through tanks and missiles. So what is Quad trying to do? Create an alternative strategic ecosystem? A parallel network? A system where countries can reduce long-term dependence on China. This is why India matters, Japan matters, Australia matters, and Taiwan indirectly matters to all of them. Now let's talk about why India becomes central over here. Why New Delhi is strategically important for this meeting? Because India sits at the center of Indian Ocean shipping lanes, Middle East energy routes, and Indo-Pacific maritime movement. Every major power increasingly needs India. The US needs India for balancing China. Japan needs India for the supply chain resilience. And Europe increasingly sees India as a trusted manufacturing partner. Now, Quad is deterrence to China. That is why China reacts strongly whenever Indo-Pacific alliance strengthens. Because if Quad coordination increases, Taiwan remains strategically protected. And then China's leverage over Asia becomes more limited. And that is the larger geopolitical game unfolding right now. America is trying to do two things at the same time. Cooperate with China economically, while strategically balancing China across the Indo-Pacific. And to achieve that, Washington increasingly needs India, Japan, Australia, and Taiwan's technological ecosystem. That is why the Quad still matters. If you enjoyed the deep geopolitical breakdown, like and subscribe.